Before I ever ran a casino or got myself blown up, Ace Rothstein was a hell of a handicapper. I can tell you that. I was so good that whenever I bet, I could change the odds for every bookmaker in the country. I'm serious. I had it down so cold that I was given paradise on earth. I was given one of the biggest casinos in Las Vegas to run, the Tangiers, by the only kind of guys that can actually get you that kind of money, $62,700,000. I don't know all the details.
Matter of fact, nobody knew all the details. But it should have been perfect. I mean, he had me, Nicky Santoro, his best friend, watching his ass. And he had Ginger, the woman he loved, on his arm. But in the end, we f***ed it all up. It should have been so sweet, too. But it turned out to be the last time that street guys like us were ever given anything that f***ing valuable again.
At that time, Vegas was a place where millions of suckers flew in every year on their own nickel and left behind about $1 billion. But at night, you couldn't see the desert that surrounds Las Vegas. But it's in the desert where lots of the town's problems are solved.
Got a lot of holes in the desert, and a lot of problems are buried in those holes. Except you gotta do it right. I mean, you gotta have the hole already dug before you show up with a package in the trunk. Otherwise, you're talking about a half hour or 45 minutes to dig it. And who knows who's gonna be coming along in that time. Before you know it, you gotta dig a few more holes. You could be there all f***ing night.
Who could resist? Anywhere else in the country, I was a bookie, a gambler, always looking over my shoulder, hassled by cops day and night. But here, I'm Mr. Rothstein. I'm not only legitimate, but running a casino. And that's like selling people dreams for cash. I hired an old casino pal, Billy Sherbert, as my manager, and I went to work.
Casino manager?
For guys like me, Las Vegas washes away your sins. It's like a morality car wash. It does for us what Lourdes does for humpbacks and cripples. And along with making us legit comes cash. Tons of it. I mean, what do you think we're doing out here in the middle of the desert? It's all this money. This is the end result of all the bright lights and the comp trips, of all the champagne and free hotel suites, and all the broads and all the booze. It's all been arranged just for us to get your money. That's the truth about Las Vegas. We're the only winners. The players don't stand a chance. And their cash flows from the tables to our boxes, through the cage, and into the most sacred room in the casino. The place where they add up all the money, the holy of holies, the count room. Now, this place was off limits. Even I couldn't get inside, but it was my job to keep it filled with cash, that's for sure.
They had so much money in there, you could build a house out of stacks of $100 bills. And the best part was that upstairs, the board of directors didn't know what the was going on. I mean, to them, everything looked on the up and up, right? Wrong. The guys inside the counting room were all slipped in there to skim the joint dry. They'd do short counts, they'd lose fill slips, they'd even take cash right out of the drop boxes. And it was up to this guy right here, standing in front of about $2 million, to skim the cash off the top without anybody getting wise, the IRS or anybody. Now notice how in the count room nobody ever seems to see anything. Somehow somebody's always looking the other way. Now look at these guys, they look busy, right? They're counting money. Who wants to bother them? I mean, God forbid they should make a mistake or forget to steal. Meanwhile, you're in and you're out. Past the jago of God who gets an extra C-note a week just to watch the door. I mean, it's routine. Business as usual. In, out, hello, goodbye, and that's all there is to it. Just another fat walking out of the casino with a suitcase. Now that suitcase was going straight to one place, right to Kansas City, which was as close to Las Vegas as the Midwest bosses could go without getting themselves arrested. That suitcase was all the bosses ever wanted, and they wanted it every month. Now this old Mormon here, he had to fly in with suitcases once a month, nice and easy.
Something smells good.
The bosses would come from all over the place, Detroit, Cleveland, Milwaukee, all over the Midwest. And they would meet in the back of this produce market in Kansas City. I mean, nobody even knew it. One of the guys made his mother do all the cooking.
See that guy Jerry staring at him?
Now, these old greaseballs might not look it, but believe me, these are the guys who secretly control Las Vegas.
Mama got Nancy again.
Because they control the Teamsters Union. And that's where you had to go if you wanted to borrow money to buy a casino.
You are.
Nobody got a Teamsters loan unless the guys in this room knew they were going to get their little suitcases. Guys like this antique over here out of Detroit. Or especially guys like Remo Gaggi, the outfit's top boss.
You got a round figure on it?
Definitely the most important guy in this room.
About 20 pounds.
So?
That's around 700,000.
Good.
I know it's a little early for Las Vegas, but I do want to welcome the ladies and gentlemen of the gaming industry.
As far as the world was concerned, Andy Stone, the head of the Teamsters Pension Fund, was a legitimate guy.
It's a very auspicious occasion.
A powerful man.
Philip, if you would rise.
He even played golf with the president.
On behalf of the Teamsters Pension Fund, it's my pleasure to present you.
But Andy also took orders. And when he was told to give a pension fund loan to Philip Green...
For $62,700,000 for the new Tangiers.
He did what he was told.
Now here was the perfect front man. I mean, what the fuck else could he be? He didn't know too much. He didn't want to know too much, especially that the bosses made the Teamsters lend him the money. He wanted to believe the Teamsters gave him all that fucking money because he was smart.
I say that knowing full well just how much competition we have in this great city.
And where they got Green from? Who the f knows? All I know is that Green was an Arizona real estate hustler who barely had enough gas money to come and pick up his own check. And of course it was the boss's man, Andy Stone, who gave all the orders, not the chairman of the board, Philip Green.
I understand. I understand.
Now all they needed was somebody they could trust to run the casino. And who better than Ace? I mean, he was already in Vegas a couple of years and he had the place clocked.